Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Burn and Rye, and we're the Bodacious Rant podcast. And so last episode we were talking about all the movies we want to that are supposed to release in 2021, but it's still a toss in the air with everything, current events going on from January to July. And well, let's finish off Burn the last few months of 2021, the movies we want to that we are either excited about, indifferent about, or hell no about. What you think?
Yes, we should continue on. Press on, or as it were, just go forward and stuff.
Yeah, forward momentum, progression, all that stuff that goes.
Yeah, that's all in the hips.
It's all in the hips. It's all. Hey, get off of me.
Just need some attention, baby. Just
Well,
need
he's
some
on.
attention.
Well, he's on someone else.
All
I
right,
mean,
starting off.
he was being a
Yeah,
little creepy in that part. So I'm like,
he
yeah, dude, get
was.
off me.
He was definitely overstepping the boundaries in that one, even with his wooden hand.
Oh God.
Alrighty, let's start off the last, guess kind of half of the year with doing it big in August, my birthday month, and starting off with a pretty low key movie, one that is probably gonna fly under the radar, Suicide Squad. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Sounds familiar. Sounds
It
familiar.
does sound familiar, right? This is a DC movie, just a kind of like a low key brand, I guess.
Oh man, after that first commercial failure of Suicide Squad in 2016, I think this is definitely a much needed reboot. And we still don't know much of the plot about, but we talked about it in our DC fandom episode, which was easily one of the highlights of 2020 entertainment wise. And
hmm
it was just trailers and concept art that weekend. It's like that's kind of funny. That's all it was.
Uh-huh.
Um, I'm gonna say it right now. I am bodaciously excited for it because James Gunn, he has taken some of the most outlandish comic book characters, specifically Guardians of the Galaxy, and now the Suicide Squad, and or slash Task Force X, and it looks from the DC fandom footage we saw, like the behind the scenes and the cast together, it looks fantastic. I am so excited. I'm so hopeful for it. So count me as 100% bodaciously excited.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. 100%, 100, just I gotta give it 110%, but dacially excited for this movie. It looks good. I want it to be good. I think it's gonna be a pretty good movie. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
But yeah, just everything you said. James Gunn, he does really good character work with especially with the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Just taking these characters that no one ever heard of or ever even thought of. Even being fans of Marvel. I definitely never heard of them and really made them a lot of characters that are relatable or funny and interesting. And just for him to play with DC characters, which I've always been more of a fan of. I'm super excited for it. The first Suicide Squad was such a huge letdown, and maybe we'll get the David Ayer cut at some point, down the line, and it might be good, but who knows at that point. But yeah, just from, like you said, everything we saw from the DC fandom, with it looking like them saying it's like an inspired by like a 70s war film. It looks like it has this like Vietnam movie, tendencies where they're like in a jungle type area and they're task force esque and hopefully they're not fighting something dumb like the Enchantress this time. But again, just based on the cast and based on James Gunn's pedigree, I'm super excited for this movie.
Yeah, me too. I mean, again, Suicide Squad. I love the cast for the first one, and I didn't mind the aesthetic for it. It's a very controversial movie, and I'm a very controversial person, so I loved aspects of it. But overall, the plot was stupid, and they tried to make him like a superhero team when it's like, and maybe David Ayer, from what I've heard, he really understood that, but the studio didn't. They tried to make a Guardian. They literally tried to make it a Guardians of the Galaxy movie where it's a
Yeah.
bunch of just out there anti-heroes, and it's like the only true anti-hero out of all of them was Harley Quinn. The rest are pretty cutthroat villains like Deadshot, Killer Croc, and Captain Boomerang. Like none of these guys really were heroes in any iteration, or if they have been, I've never heard of it.
Uh-huh.
So that was a very big miss. But with DC, really kind of changing its course. I think this one could be very outlandish, and we're getting it looks like we're getting on screen comic book accurate Harley Quinn on screen with
Yeah,
her.
her outfit looks really like comics accurate, or more like Arkham game accurate.
Exactly. And the Arkham games are like some of the most definitive character versions of each of those rogues gallery and heroes. So I'm excited for it. James Gunn, if anything, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with when it comes to like comic book characters and films.
Hmm. And especially like a team movie where he gives every member their spotlight, which a lot of people struggle with, especially with a cast of that size. So yeah, super excited to say the
Hmm.
least. Next, Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, the sequel to the 2017 film The Hitman's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm on the fence because the last one was pretty
Really? I
funny.
thought you'd be like really excited for it since you like pretty like much love the first one.
I mean, I did, but I didn't just because it was a pretty dumb movie. But there were some great scenes in it, especially just Ryan Reynolds' opening scene where he escorted his like the person he was protecting to his plane, and just his little like cheesy like hand grab, like I'll miss you, man, like good luck.
Hmm.
And the guy gets shot in the plane, and his face just like slowly goes from like smiling to just what, like perfect, like super slow. And Sam Jackson just being a top criminal in the world to singing in with the nuns in a van. Just
Oh yeah.
they love him more than they like Ryan Reynolds, who protects people. So it was kind of funny how that turned out. Like just buongiorno, just now whose lap am I sitting on? Just such a cheesy bastard in it, and oh man, so though it was cool, and Salma Hayek is his batshit crazy criminal wife is was a great casting. So this one I'll be interested in, but I'm very on the fence about just because I don't know if I'll waste my time in the theater. But if A-List is still around for AMC, I'll go see it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the first one's a pretty guilty pleasure comedy movie. Like it's not like great by any means, but just Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson's comedic timing alone really carried that movie. So I would say, yeah, like you, I'm more on the fence for one out one. I'm gonna rush out to watch. If the theaters are showing it at that point. But like you said, if it's an A list or if it comes to streaming or something, I'll watch it. It should be a fun time with that cast.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have to see what happens with that one.
All right, what about this next one? Candyman. Is it a reboot or a sequel? We don't know, but it looks like it's probably both of those things and none at the same time. Are you excited for 2020's Candyman?
Oh hell yeah, bodaciously excited for it. That first
Oh,
trailer got me
nice.
psyched out of my mind. Now while the first Candyman I actually did watch last summer in 2020, it was okay. Nah, it wasn't a bad movie. Very interesting. Very like a lot of in-depth stuff with it. But I'm hopeful for this one. I love the guy. How do you say his name from like
Oh,
Watchmen?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen?
Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Okay, I feel like I'll pronounce it wrong, but yeah, him as the Candyman looks awesome. Like again, I love the fact that it's like these horror remakes are starring like it's pretty cool to see like like more diverse remake on it. I don't know
Hmm.
actually if it is a sequel or a reboot. That one was a little on the fence for me just because. But that's kind of how the first movie was, where the Candyman's like like a tale, almost like a neighborhood scary story.
Hmm.
So, but this one just alone, the trailer got me super excited for it. Whether instead of the last one being involved from outside the Candyman's perspective, this one is from his perspective, like he's becoming Candyman, and it's like a werewolf story almost, where it's like he's doing it, but he doesn't know about it. So I'm pretty psyched for it. He's a great actor too, Yahya Abdul Mateen. Like I love him in everything he's done so far.
Oh yeah, he's done a fantastic job in every role that I've seen him in. So that's what makes me lean more towards the excited side. I will say, I guess just for ranking things, I'll say I'm on the fence for it just because I mean it's one that could be cool for me. I'm not one that like really gets super excited for horror movies, but I'll go watch them and I'll just be terrified the entire time. I'm not afraid to admit that I'm a little bit of a bitch when it comes to horror movies. But yeah, this one looks like it should be pretty cool, especially like you said with the cast that they've got and the director who's like helming it, Nia DaCosta, who is going to be directing the Captain Marvel sequel, at some point. So yeah, I mean, I'll probably check it out just to see, how well she does with a more of a franchise, type movie.
You're just saying all the things that got me excited. Not Nia DaCosta, horror. I mean, if I can piss myself in the theater or have nightmares from it, that's a win. Utter win. Like I love horror movies that make me kind of just want to cover my eyes when I watch them, just because I'm like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And not a lot of horror movies do that to me nowadays, just because it's like not a lot of scary. Like I guess technically the last one I saw in theater was Midsommar, even though that wasn't really scary. I consider that more of like an anthropological horror thriller.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, true. It is kind of like that.
but it wasn't necessarily scary. It was just creepy, just grotesque and creepy.
Yeah, unsettling.
Hereditary, yeah, Hereditary was much more on the scarier side, but definitely unsettling. So
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten like scared really from a movie since like The Conjuring. That movie really like got into my skin.
especially Conjuring too, with the yeah, there was the Conjurings have been great. I can't wait for the third one. But let's keep going, Burn.
Yeah. So the next one is The Beatles Get Back. So it's Peter Jackson. He's making this is a documentary on the Beatles with supposedly a lot of unseen footage and a lot of like remastered footage. Are you excited for this movie at all?
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I like the Beatles, but to be honest, not my favorite band.
True. Yeah, I mean they're not my favorite band either, but I will say I'm bodaciously excited for this one, just based on the fact of what he did with the movie, the documentary that he did. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. The They Shall Not Grow Old, the World War One documentary that he made. Man, if you guys haven't seen that movie, it is fantastic. It's so good with what he did with like remastering the footage from World War One. Like there was like a mini documentary after the actual documentary showing how they like retouched up old World War One footage and remastered it, and how they dubbed they got like a bunch of lip readers to see what like a lot of soldiers in the footage were saying and like redubbing that, and doing the completely, because the movie like films or back then they didn't record audio, so they completely created a whole soundscape for that movie. So I mean, his work on the Lord of the Rings is great, but man, you can tell the amount of passion that he had with the documentary of They Shall Not Grow Old. Because I mean, in the documentary, after the documentary, he goes into length about how he had family members who served in World War One, and how he's such a huge World War One geek, how that he has like a whole collection of relics, like missiles and artillery and tanks and all that stuff that he just kind of bought over the years. So I mean, with the amount of love that he put into that documentary, I can only imagine what he would do with the Beatles. So that's why I'm excited for this movie in particular.
That is totally fair, and that does sound amazing. So I'm very hit and miss with documentaries. Some are really exciting. Others is just like for me, you have to get me to watch a documentary. I'm not just gonna watch it willingly unless
True.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, that does sound great, especially because I know Peter Jackson did a great job with that. Like I heard a lot of good things about it, especially from what you've told me. I just haven't gotten around to seeing it. So, but this one, yeah, we'll have to see what that one is. I'm on the fence, like more in a positive way than a
Yeah.
bad way.
No, for sure. Yeah, I understand. It's like again with like documentaries, like you said, it seems like they're kind of niche where people there are fans of the documentaries. There are people who just like watch documentaries religiously, and for a lot of the general audience, it's like, they're not going to go out of their way to watch a documentary. It's like maybe if they catch one on Netflix or on like, Nat Geo or the History Channel, they'll watch it, but that's not one, you usually go to the theaters for. But just like I said, just because of Peter Jackson's involvement, that's why I'm super excited for it. And I understand why a lot of people wouldn't be, chomping at the bit to go watch it. But hopefully I can turn that around and get people to be a little more excited for it.
Maybe you will, Burn. Maybe you will.
Maybe, but that would be some long division.
Long.
Long. Alrighty, up next, Death on the Nile, Kenneth Branagh's sequel to the Murder on the Orient Express. Are you excited for this movie at all?
No, not hell no,
Yeah,
but just no.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's a hell no for me either, but not really too. too jazzed up for one of these movies. I do like a good murder mystery, but I would say Knives Out was probably like the best one we had in years.
Yeah, that's the thing, I saw Murder on the Orient Express, and while I loved the cast, and Kenneth Branagh really rocked a magnificent stash,
Oh yeah, that stash deserves an Oscar just for existing.
it just didn't excite me that much. It was a little bit of a slow burn, like not in a great way. Just it was a little bit. It's just not that great. So I don't know about this one, but this one does have, I think, Gal Gadot and Armie Hammer in it with Kenneth Branagh. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious about it, but I'm gonna lean more towards no.
Yeah, same. The cast looks interesting, but not really looking forward to it. But if it's good, then I'll check it out. It'll just be one of those
Absolutely.
where I'll wait for reviews and see what people say about it. Then maybe I will check it out if it's word of mouth is good.
Wait till our review to see it.
Oh, I know. I mean, we gotta review it. So dang it, why do we put ourselves in this business? We gotta watch terrible movies to review them now.
Damn it! We have a service to ourselves and to the community. Burn. We are
Exactly.
our own heroes.
We will watch these movies for so other people don't have to. That is our cross to bear.
I'm gonna bring a flask to pour in my drink when I watch it. Just let's get this night going. Just I'm drunk into sleep. Just it's like, you okay, Ryan? Wake up! What? Huh? The movie ended like 20 minutes ago. The credits are done. It's like, really? Is the next movie starting? Yeah, they're telling us to leave. All right. I'll just sleep in the car. Drive me home, Burton.
Drive me home, slave. Okay, what?
I will repeat that. No, it's okay. Maybe, but no.
All right, and now we are getting into the month of October,
My
and of
birthday
course,
month.
yeah, your birthday month, and let's
It's the best month of the year.
starting out with a relatively unknown movie by an unknown director. Let me see here. It says Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve.
You're
Never
just
heard
a
of
douchebag.
Dune. I mean, do you have to
after
say
this,
anything?
after this trailer, just count me as bodaciously excited. It looks great. Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, who basically this was like the nail in the coffin to get him the snake role. Not really,
Uh-huh.
but he definitely looked like it. But yeah, I'm psyched for it. That last trailer was pretty interesting. Not only again Denis Villeneuve being passionate about the project, want to make it more towards the book and be respectful of the material and try and not cram it into one film. I'm bummed that it took the Batman spot this year, where the Batman got pushed to 2022. But it's I'm excited. So bodaciously excited, 1,000%.
Yeah, I mean, I do hope the Batman gets pushed back up into this year, but I guess it'll just be one thing to look forward to in 2022. But man, I'm really looking forward to Dune. I mean, we've talked about it when we talked about the HBO Max stuff. Because this one, at least up until this point, I think it is going to do a simultaneous release. I know they were talking about it, maybe just doing a theater release. Well, we'll have to see. I mean, that's in October, so that's a long ways away. But hopefully, by that point, either we can watch it in theaters, or if not, it'll be in an HBO Max, hopefully. So again, I just want to see this movie just because, like you said, Denis Villeneuve, I've loved everything he's made. The cast is amazing. I just want to know about the spice. There's a lot of talk about this spice. I gotta know about it. What is the deal with the spice?
There's too much to talk about in one episode. We'll have to save that for really another deep dissection. But okay, so let's keep moving. We're both audaciously excited for Dune.
Yes. What about the Uncharted adaptation? The Tom Holland, Marky Mark, and the Funky Bunch. The adaptation of the Uncharted series, the Sony exclusive video games. Are you excited for this one?
On the fence, maybe towards no. Not that I don't love Uncharted. I haven't beaten any of the games, but I've played a good portion of like
Oh no.
Uncharted 2 and 3. And I do love Tom Holland and Marky Mark. They're some of my favorite actors, but it just doesn't do it for me. This is a video game adaptation. I was like, I don't know how it will do. I mean, especially when Tomb Raider had Alicia Vikander, who is easily one of the best castings for that.
Yeah, coming
That
off of the
kind
Oscar.
Yeah, that kind of bombed. So I'm a little worried like this one may bomb too, and not because of the actors, but just because again maybe the studio may not completely understand the video game that it should,
Hmm.
and the writers and directors are tasked to like, or maybe the writers don't understand the material, so that's like they kind of try and take liberties with it. But we'll have to see what will happen with this one.
Yeah, I mean, it being a Sony Pictures movie and, Uncharted being, a Sony product, you would hope that they would be giving it a little more respect than a lot of other, video game adaptations that have come out over the years. But I mean, Tom Holland, he's a good pick for a young Nathan Drake. So, I mean, he should be good. I mean, he's been good in everything he's in. And I don't know. I mean, the director is Ruben Fleischer, who I do like his work with like Zombieland, but I mean, a lot of the other stuff he's done. I mean, he directed the Venom movie, so it's gonna be kind of like whatever. I don't have the most faith, but I guess I'll put it on the fence for this one, just because I don't know. It could be cool. It could not be. I hope it's good. I mean, the hope is that video game adaptations get better, but this one, just going into it, not a lot of faith.
Nope, not a lot of faith at all, especially just because Sony is so hit and miss with certain properties, specifically the Spider-Man property. So and Resident Evil, which their reboot already finished, even though they announced the cast like a couple months ago, and it's already wrapped filming. I'm like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna be. We'll have to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. I mean, I guess hopefully it's not as bad as the Paul W.S. Anderson's movies. That'll be hard to do though. So at least it might be better than those.
I feel like now that you said it out loud, it could be worse than those ones, and those were
Oh
pretty freaking
no,
low.
the bar's so low. I mean, they would really have to be terrible
They would
too.
have to be like sci-fi channel status bad.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, though, the Resident Evil movie is neither here nor there. So we're both on the fence about the Uncharted movie, which again, that's just me. But what about you? Let's keep going.
All right, so the next one in October is Halloween Kills, the sequel to the Halloween, I guess, reboot sequel that they did a couple years ago, right? I guess it's technically a part two now to the original Halloween. So this would be, I guess, technically part three. Yeah, I
Fuck
guess so.
yeah! Just I'm super excited because the last one was great. I didn't think it could be, but it made me love Michael Myers even more. Danny McBride knows what he's doing as a co-writer and director. I mean, I think just co-writer, but still, just this is as part three to the original Halloween. I'm super excited for it, especially with what they did the last movie.
Yeah, I mean the last one was pretty enjoyable for me. I know there were like a few amount of like diehard fans who didn't really like it for one reason or another. I thought it was really cool, personally. So hopefully, with David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, at the helm again, maybe they can, lightning can strike twice. Hopefully, hopefully it's not one of those, they don't go the way of the original movies where they just go overstay the welcome and just get worse and worse with each iteration. So hopefully they can not make those same mistakes.
Well, this one and the next one, which I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but the for two sequels to already be planned by, Dan McBride and Seth Gordon Green, that's a good sign, and I have faith in them to maybe not overstay the welcome. If I mean, given they could have just done it because like you guys made us money, we'll give you two more sequels. I think they know what they're doing, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, what about Snake Eyes? Are you excited
Oh,
for Snake
of course, it's got Henry Golding in it.
Eyes?
Again, I really like him in the things I've seen, which are the Crazy Rich Asians and The Gentleman. He was such a, I mean, given two different characters, like one like is a one's an actual gentleman, the other is just a low down triad who's just so scummy but so handsome at the same time. Like it looks great. I mean, not okay. It doesn't look great. It sounds great. Especially there was this like black and white picture of him walking up a bunch of stairs wearing like a kind of like almost maybe urban ninja outfit kind of thing, where it's like a short coat with a sword and like a belt or something. It looks like a Kurosawa picture, and and that's essentially what Snake Eyes is. And I think if they can do it in a very not only action packed but a very like serious and grounded way to reboot the GI Joe's universe. I think Snake Eyes is definitely a great start to do it. Unlike the Channing Tatum led GI Joes, and then the Rock led GI Joe Retaliation. They are pretty bad movies, but they're guilty pleasures of mine just because they're fun action, and I love Snake Eyes' design in both, where it's like a body like tactical suit over one, and then a super armored tactical suit in the next one. So I'm interested to see what they'll do with him in this one, not
Hmm.
only character wise, but act like again. I have faith in Henry Golding as an actor, so I'm curious to see what this one will be like.
Yeah, hopefully the that picture that they released of, like you said, like kind of like him walking up those steps, with his sword, and it looks like kind of he's like in more like traditional like ninja garb. Hopefully that the movie goes into that sort of tone, since it is an origin story for Snake Eyes. Hopefully it is something that is not so much like the GI Joe movies that you were talking about, where it's like over the top action stuff. Hopefully something a little bit more grounded, and again, hopefully like the Shang-Chi movie, it's something a little bit more like along the lines of, like, for this one, like Japanese like action, something a little bit more on like the side of like Ronin or something like that. So I'm hoping that that's the influence they take. That would definitely make it stand out, from just a typical blockbuster. And hopefully, since it is coming out in October, maybe that is a sign that it is going to be a little bit more on the serious side. So I mean, hopefully that's the case. I'm on the fence because I'm hoping that they don't go, the over the top action route. Hopefully they do something a little bit more different with this, especially with a character that's cool as Snake Eyes.
I'm kind of hoping if they love Snake Eyes and they really want to be successful with the GI Joe reboot, they're gonna go along the lines of like Last Samurai, The Raid Redemption, and even John Wick, where it's
Hmm.
like very over the top action but in a grounded way. Just because Snake
Yeah,
Eyes not only is a ninja, but I think he has used firearms in the comics as well, just like he did in the other two movies. So if they can find a good, happy, grounded medium with that, I am on board.
yeah. That's I guess that's what I mean. Like, not like the over the top action from these movies, but I would prefer, yeah, like you said, the more grounded over the top action of like something like The Raid or John Wick. I hope that's the direction that they go with.
You know it.
You know it. You know it. So now we are in November, and there's another movie from that indie Marvel studio, that not a lot of people know of,
Get
Eternals
on
or
with
something
it.
like that. Yes, the joke has overstayed its welcome. Eternals from Marvel Films. Are you excited for Eternals at all?
Now, again, I don't know much about the Eternals, just like Shang-Chi, but from what we've seen at the concept art at the Comic-Con a couple years ago, as well as I think maybe last year they had some stuff, but and the cast alone, the cast I'm super excited for. Salma Hayek,
Hmm.
Kit Harington as the Black Knight, who's kind of making his comeback into the comics and stuff in the last few years, and the Eternals in general. Given it's all a marketing ploy, like not only bringing back these characters, but they're also doing it because the movie's coming out this year. I'm excited for it. They did gender swap and some characters and race change some, but it's a very diverse cast. It's gonna lead. It's gonna have its first gay lead, homosexual lead, and it's a big step. I think it's a good step in the right direction for a Marvel film. I just hope it does well. I can't wait for a trailer, and I want to see Kit Harington as like in a Marvel. I've wanted to see him in like a superhero role for a while. So if he does well in the Black Knight, and so does everybody else, we're gonna see some. We're gonna see another cool universe come play out in the MCU.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's like this new era of Marvel's version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, where, again, it's a team that we've not really been exposed to in like the mainstream and stuff, and even within the comics, they're a little bit more of a fringe, team that, even the most diehard fans are either probably like not big fans of, or just like don't really read their comics for the most part. But everything that I've seen is like pretty interesting, just for the fact that, again, it's just something that I'm not really ever really exposed to. So it just makes me more interested in, wanting to know who these characters are and what their stories are and stuff. And it seems like the Eternals is going to be like I said, the Guardians of the Galaxy of this new era of Marvel after the Infinity Saga. So I'm super excited for it. And like you said, the cast is super dope. We get to see Kumail Nanjiani and his ripped goodness.
Yeah, he broke the internet 2 years ago because of that.
Uh,
Like like how it goes from like an average like physique dude, more comedic, maybe a little pudgy here and there, and then he's just ripped as all hell. Like we kind of saw that in the Lovebirds last year on Netflix,
yeah.
this year again, we're gonna see him in action, and I just hope that they can keep doing like great action scenes with these guys. Like maybe on the Thor side of things because they are more like galactic and stuff like that. And again, this is a new chapter. We're done with the Infinity Saga, so they can keep expanding it to Galactus or the Venomverse or whatever they want to do. Just really, really go out there with the next few sagas of the MCU. So I'm psyched.
Yeah, yeah, same.
Different, but same. It's like no.
Don't say that. Let's see. This next one is the Spider-Man 3. Well, Tom Holland Spider-Man. We don't know what the title is for this one yet, but I mean, I'll just go ahead and say I'm super excited for this one, just because I mean the first two have been so good. Tom Holland is definitely my favorite Spider-Man, and just all the news we've been hearing of all the people that they're bringing into this one, that they're really leaning into the multiverse aspect of it, with a lot of characters coming back from Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies. So I'm really curious to see how this one's going to turn out. If is it going to be a mess, or is it going to be like something super dope where the movie handles like all these different timelines and different Spider-Man and really nails it like the Into the Spider-Verse did.
Yeah, I've been very in our one episode of when we talk about the Spider-Verse news. I cannot wait for this. It sounds like Marvel's embracing the craziness of the multiverse. And will they execute it better than DC has? Probably. I'm gonna say that right now. Probably.
Probably.
So we'll have to
They've
see.
nailed everything they've done so far.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have to see what happens with that. No, not to jab on DC, but it's just like uh, they got late into the game just because there was a whole bunch of stuff with that and haven't found their footing. But they're definitely getting on track. They are doing the multiverse as well. So not that's a competition. I want them both to do well just because I love DC and their multiverse more so than Marvel's. But it's just MCU has never ceased to fail except for Thor: The Dark World. Um, you know, Iron Man 3 for me, and Age of Ultron I'm gonna count as up there. Those are some of my least favorite ones, but we'll see. I'm psyched for the Spider-Man as well. Both of us bodaciously excited.
Yes, Bodacious was excited for this one, very much so. What about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3? You excited for that one at all? I'm not. I'm gonna throwing this one to hell to the no
I'm
because
on the fence about it. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. I'm a little leaning towards no, but I love the Harry Potter universe. I did like the first Fantastic Beasts Where to Find Them, and the second one, Crimes of Grindelwald, was good, but the ending I thought was a complete left turn from where I thought it was going. And even one of my friends who read the books and really loves Harry Potter, even she and I were like, I've never heard of any of this. Why is this now just being part of the movie? Like they're really taking liberties with it, and not for a great, maybe not for the best, but they're still they're enjoyable to watch. But this one I'm leaning more towards no, but on the fence about it.
yeah, just because I mean I love the world of Harry Potter and stuff, but just like these movies have just kind of been a mess. I mean I did enjoy the first one, and I thought Colin Farrell was really good as Grindelwald supposedly, but then we got Johnny Depp, and I was like, oh man, I really like Colin Farrell in the world. But I mean, that's neither here nor there because the second one was just a complete mess. Where I was just like, okay, what are we going with this? And the way it ended and stuff, I'm just like, okay, I'm don't really care at this point, about any of these characters and what their journeys are and stuff. I would much rather have like maybe a continuation of Harry Potter and the original cast like stories and stuff, where as opposed to this one. I mean, I am kind of interested in seeing what they do with Jude Law's younger Dumbledore. So hopefully, maybe that will be interesting enough to make me want to see these. Because I think they have like five or six planned or something like that for these Fantastic Beasts. So I don't know. They really this one has to be really good for me to get back on the hype train for it. Because right now I'm just kind of not interested.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm kind of with you on there, my brother.
Yeah, but what about Mission Impossible 7? You excited for another one until he's dead?
Yeah, bodaciously excited, even though we haven't seen anything from it. I don't even think we've seen a lot of set photos from it, to be honest.
No.
Um, Honestly, after the last couple Mission Impossibles, I mean, even actually since Ghost Protocol. I've been a diehard fan of Mission Impossibles, and I remember when I saw the third one when I was younger. I burnt myself with that because I saw it like twice in the theater and then twice on an airplane going to Hawaii there and back because that was the movie for both times. And I thought, oh my God, I am over this. This is nonsense now. But then, but Ghost Protocol was great because I went to go see it in IMAX in Culver City when it was called the Bridge Theater. That's when I got to see the first few minutes of Dark Knight Rises and seeing the whole airplane hijacking scene. And then Mission Impossible Rogue Nation was awesome. It introduced Rebecca Ferguson's character, and then Fallout a couple years ago, which was the best one so far. Henry Cavill was such a great villain as like a CIA, double agent terrorist. With Rebecca Ferguson again, Simon Pegg being a little more in it. Kind of bummed Jeremy Renner wasn't in that one, but he was probably busy with Marvel at the time, so I don't know if he'll be back for this one. But this one features Haley Atwell as his new partner or other agent, maybe even bad guy. I'm not entirely sure on the plot. And also, I've heard they're dating in real life too, which is kind of cool. He's a lucky man if that's true. But
Oh,
I'm quite jealous of him. But anyways, I'm bodaciously excited, especially after the last few movies.
man, yeah, I'm right there with you. The movies, I just don't know how they do it. They keep getting better and better and better, just one-upping each other every single time since the third movie. I'm again, just like again with any Tom Cruise movie, I'm super excited. But with this franchise in particular, I think every year they come out, there's some of the best action movies of the year, and I think definitely Mission Impossible Fallout is probably one of the best action movies I've ever seen, just because of how well it's all done. So curious to see how they're gonna top that one. So just definitely gonna go into this one bodaciously excited.
Absolutely. So, uh, that movie, those movies should definitely win Oscars for like some of the best action out there.
Yeah, again, the stunt category, they would Tom Cruise would have been gone home with all the Oscars.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now we're in the month of December. Just wrapping up the year 2021 with a bow. And the first one we're gonna start with is the West Side Story remake. Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story, the classic musical. That's been around for the longest time. Are you excited for another Steven Spielberg movie?
I love Steven Spielberg. I just don't know about West Side Story. I've never seen the original. I don't know much about it.
Me
I
neither.
know it's like a world acclaimed story, but I just have no interest in seeing it. Maybe if I saw a trailer and see how it is, maybe. Not that I don't respect musicals at all. The musicals can be very enjoyable. I'm not like necessarily a diehard fan of musicals, and it's just I don't know. Even with Spielberg's name attached to him, just eh.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I would also say I'm just on the fence. Maybe after I see a trailer or something, get a little more of an idea like what he's gonna do with the remake. I'll probably be a little more excited just because Steven Spielberg, he's a great filmmaker, so I'll watch anything he does. But this is not one I'm like anticipating. That I'm like eagerly excited for. So I mean, it's one that I'm definitely gonna watch when it comes out. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing really much more to say about it. Just that maybe I'll be more excited when I see a trailer or something.
Hmm.
What about The Matrix 4?
As much as I love the Matrix movies, I'm still on the fence about it.
How,
the Ma-
why?
the
Why?
Matrix movies are some of my favorite childhood movies, even though they're such graphically violent and messed up movies. But I love the sci-fi aspect. That was actually the movies that really made me love Keanu Reeves, just because he was Neo. He was like the coolest mother effer on the planet to me. Um, but I don't know. It's one of those movies that it's a sequel been so long after the other one. The other one came out in 2003, 2003, 2004. That was the last one we saw, Matrix. And it's just one of those things. It's been 17 years. Like, is it even going to be worth it? But I'm curious. Like I said, if I see a trailer, I'll probably, catch up. I'll probably fall in love with it, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just be like, I'm fine with the first three. I don't need another one.
Yeah, I would say that I'm also on the fence about this one, just for the fact alone that, like you said, it's been years since the last movie, and I thought, the last movie, just wrapped up that storyline, in a bow. It didn't seem like there was really anywhere else to go, but since the Wachowskis are back to direct this one, and Keanu Reeves and Carrie Ann Moss are back to reprise their roles, and they're also adding Yahya Abdul-Mateen is in there too. Apparently Neil Patrick Harris is also in the movie, and Priyanka Chopra who's really good too. So I mean, maybe it's good, but I'm on the fence right now because I really got to see like a trailer or something to really convince me that this a sequel this late in the game should have been made when I thought the original trilogy kind of wrapped itself up in a really good way.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have to see what's going to be the new story with this one. Like, has history repeat itself? Has the war between humans and machines reignited, or is this like an entirely new prequel or something? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah. But I mean that's pretty much it for the movies that have set dates. I know there are a couple of movies that you want to talk about that at least in terms of right now, I know have a to be determined thing. So we'll see. But what are those movies you wanted to talk about, my friend?
Real quick, Mortal Kombat, which I've talked about in the last few episodes. I'm sorry, I'm a broken record, but that actually has a release date of April this year. So in a few months, it'll be out on HBO Max and theaters, I believe. I'm pretty excited for it again, just because it has a predominantly Asian American cast. And even though these characters like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and some of the other warriors in those games, they usually wear masks, so it's not a huge deal. But I think it just creates that level of authenticity. Like Hiroki Sanada is supposed to be Scorpion, who's been an utter badass in like the Wolverine, Last Samurai, 47 Ronin. And even Endgame, even though he died really quickly. But
Yeah, he's a small role in Endgame, but he was cool.
But he's a real life martial artist. And then I think Joe Salim from The Raid Redemption, I think that's his name.
Is it Sal or Taslim? Taslim?
Taslim?
Yeah, Joe Taslim.
Taslim? Okay, I'm sorry. Who was in one of those Netflix movies. I can't remember for the life of me.
Oh man, I forgot what it was called. It was called
Something at Night.
yeah, something. I don't remember something at night.
But he was also in The Raid Redemption, Fast and Furious 6. And he's another, again, a martial artist turned actor, and he's going to be Sub-Zero. So them two going at each other, which I kind of hope would be really cool. And I know they did for Mortal Kombat. Another reason why they had like a little mini web series that Michael Jai White did for Mortal Kombat, which actually I've seen a bit of.
That's right.
And it's pretty interesting, given it's a YouTube like little mini series, but it's kind of well done. It's pretty cool. Like dives into the mythologies behind, especially the episode with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, how Sub-Zero, the first Sub-Zero, basically just ruins Scorpion's life and basically turned him into that. That was really cool. So I kind of hope we can see that dive into this one a little. So I'm bodacious excited for that one. The Sony Resident Evil one, I'm on the fence of. There's actually 3 different Resident Evil properties. There's 2 shows. One's animated, one's like a live action or another animated one. And then this one's the live action with like Kaya Scodelario and Robbie Amell, which I'm pretty excited for, strictly on the cast alone. And it sounds like they want to go for the horror roots of the game, of the original story. So hopefully they can execute that well and make it like action packed while being pretty scary, or at least like thrilling. And one of the movies I've been looking forward to for a long time now is Antlers. It's been announced for at least 3 years in 2018.
Oh wow, really? I didn't know
I
it was
want
that
to
long.
say, yeah, it's been pushed back several times. Guillermo del Toro had a hand in it, and that's about like a somewhere in like the northern states, like I think Washington or something, like in the Midwest, like in the north part, where it's about the Wendigo, this ancient Native American creature, and it wreaks havoc in like a small town. But this boy has been like, I think, feeding it or living with it, and he's like the only like known person in the town to really kind of understand it. So it looks like a pretty crazy film. And those are just the 3 I just want to throw out before we finish up, just because these are a couple movies that, well, specifically Antlers has been pushed back, and it's like, just release it already. I hope it's not another New Mutant situation, just because it looks pretty good,
Oh yeah.
but we'll have to see what happens. So those are the ones I just
Definitely.
want to shout out there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool,
and
man.
The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That one does sound pretty interesting. Where it seems like it's going to be a little more of like a courtroom drama or something like that, right? Where like there's like the defense where the guy was saying that he was possessed by the devil or something. That should be crazy.
I think it's supposed to reference the Amityville horror story, kind of like what Conjuring 2 was, like the whole devil made me do it storyline. Like, and I love how the Conjuring's done that, where it's it's like each movie is kind of given a hint of where it could go next. And they, although they've had a couple successful and unsuccessful spin-offs with Annabelle the doll and the nun, the demon, um, it's they're still solid movies overall. They still have some great scares to them, and the Conjuring though 1, 2, and have been fantastic. And then the two subsequent Annabelle prequel sequels were really good too. Annabelle Creation, Annabelle Comes Home. Those are fantastically scary too.
Oh, I didn't see Comes Home, but the creation I thought was really good.
Comes Home I really liked because that was like still it was like a Conjuring like sequel almost, just because it takes place in the Warrens' home where the Warrens' daughter's by herself with a babysitter and a friend of theirs, and it's basically their whole room of haunted and cursed relics has been opened up, and they're just kind of running rampant through the house with these kids there, and they
Oh,
don't know
damn.
what to do. Like Annabelle's basically leading the charge against them. So there were some pretty creepy moments in it. I was a little scared in the theater. That was actually the last movie that kind of really got me in theaters.
Dang. Okay. I should be excited for this next Conjuring too. I don't know if it's James Wan coming back to direct it or not, but I mean, if he isn't, yeah, definitely sign me up.
hmm Any other movies that you want to throw out there, Burn? I mean, again, we haven't talked about all the movies, ladies and gentlemen, that are coming out this year, just because there are plenty of Disney movies as well, and even and some H. No, I think actually we covered the basis of all of them, but we're not going to talk about the series or anything this year, basically because we talked about them in like Disney, the Disney
Yeah,
Plus stuff. So,
we talked about yeah exactly. We were talking about too, the Disney Plus episode.
but that'll do it for me, Burn. What about you?
Yeah, that'll do it for me too. I mean, that's all a lot of the ones that the big ones that we know of so far. I'm sure there's going to be movies that are coming out that haven't been announced yet, and maybe we'll talk about those when they do. But as of right now, yeah, that's those are the ones that are worthy of talking about, at least as of right now.
Absolutely, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad if you guys stuck through it. We appreciate you always. And again, if there's any other movies that you're looking forward to or anything we should maybe keep an ear out for or maybe be a little more positive on, let us know. Please, we'll keep the conversation going, take any suggestions, any stuff like that.
Exactly. We got a whole year ahead of us now, so lots to look forward to.
Absolutely. But oh man, for the first episode of 2021, I look forward to another year of our episodes with you, my dude.
Me too, man. Should be interesting, and hopefully, we'll get this baby up and rolling with a whole setup and they can see our faces and stuff and just and judge us to the fullest extent of the internet.
Oh no, I hope not. I hope it's more positive. But anyways, we'll have to see what happens. Either way, if I cry, it'll be a soothing cry.
Just be gentle.
My God, these guys, all of them want to murder me. Some people just hate me for the way I look, so I'm just getting messed up on the internet.
Maybe our face reveals would not be a good idea.
We need sponsors like Wolf Cola and
Gunther's guns,
Gunther's Guns and Fight Milk.
fight milk. Yeah.
All right, man. Until next time, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later, my brother.
All right, my dude. See you on the next one.
See you on the next one.